and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Alana, and in today's video I want to give some advice to people who are maybe thinking about or just starting car life or van life and aren't really sure if it's right for them. So if you don't know, I did spend 4 months this summer living out of my car part-time, and it was honestly the best summer ever. And even though I'm now here in Nicaragua and I don't have a car for the moment, this is just some advice that I learned through my time living in my car. And spoiler alert, I'm going to go back to living in my car when I am done with this job, so obviously it wasn't that bad. Tip number 1 is don't wait for the right time or the right vehicle. Just put everything that you need to survive in the car that you already have, assuming you have one, and just go. Maybe it's for a weekend to just test it out, maybe you do it for a week, or maybe you're like me and you do it for 4 months to test it out. But I had a Honda Accord. I bought it 2 years ago in 2020, and it was just the car that I already had. And is it ideal for car camping? Probably not, but it worked. And this kind of goes along with tip number 2, is evaluate the actual type of vehicle that you need for your desires, because everybody wants something different. So yeah, someone might have a really cool van or a really cool camper, but sit with yourself and be like, okay, what do I want? What makes sense for me? And I think by living out of the vehicle that you already have, it teaches you exactly what you need in this lifestyle. For example, some people say that they have to have a shower in whatever vehicle that they're living out of. But for me, I go to Planet Fitness so regularly to work out that it didn't really seem like I needed a shower. I was there enough. I could just shower when I was at the gym. Which also, another tip, if you do go to gyms for showers, work out before you shower. Don't be the person who just goes in for a shower and leaves. I mean, you can if you have a time crunch, but you're already there. Help your body by moving your body every time you're there, whether it's just walking on a treadmill or stretching or actually working out. That was probably one of the best habits or routines that I implemented in this very non-routine lifestyle. Was every time I went to the gym, I would work out. And I think that really helped keep my mental health in check while I was living such a uprooted kind of lifestyle. Tip number 3 is to make a rainy day plan. Now, this really applies if you're living out of something like a Honda Accord or the car that you already have that maybe isn't set up for you to hang out inside while it's raining. I found myself stuck in my car in the rain quite a few times this summer, including in this vlog. But if you have a plan or a go-to thing that you always do when it's raining, that kind of makes it less chaotic. For me, it was usually, oh, it's raining, I'll go spend a few hours at the gym and then go find a public library to sit and work. That's tip number 4. You don't really have to go to a cafe. You can just find a public library, and that's a really great place to hang out and use the Wi-Fi, as well as charge some of your gear. Another tip with that is bring a power strip. So you only have to take up one outlet in the place that you're sitting, but you can charge literally all of your gear while you're sitting in the library and working and avoiding the rain. And speaking of chargers, the thing that saved me this summer was having a solar-powered battery pack. Now, I think a lot of van lifers always talk about Jackery, and I'm like, that's great, but it's out of my budget. And so this is just a $40 solar-powered, you can plug in 2 USBs to charge cell phones. You can't charge laptops from it, but I'll upgrade later. But this battery pack honestly saved my butt, because there were a few times where I wanted to camp for a few days in a row, 2 or 3 days, and obviously your phone doesn't hold a charge that long. And my portable chargers that I had before, they once you use them, they're dead. Versus this one, if you use it up one day, you can just charge it the next day and use it again at night. So yeah. And going along with things that you absolutely need, I personally think, are window coverings. That was the thing that gave me peace of mind anytime I was parked up in some city neighborhood street. I knew that nobody could see in, and even if my windows got a little foggy because I was sleeping in there and it was cold outside, people couldn't see me directly and know that I was alone. So that just made me feel a little bit safer. Also, the taser and the pepper spray made me feel safer, but I never had to use any of it. So I think a lot of times people go into it thinking, oh, but car life is so dangerous. It's like, I mean, life is just dangerous in general. Like, why not just live it up to the fullest? And I think living out of your car helps you live to your fullest because you just always have what you need. You never have to like pause and go home and get stuff, or like if you're hungry, you just post up and make lunch. Like, it's great. And speaking of food, keep it simple. I feel like a lot of times people stress about food. I know sometimes I do, about like, oh, like how do I make a good healthy meal while I only have this one little camp stove burner? And there are ways to have healthy things but make them easier. So I have a whole video talking about foods that I take camping with me, if you need some inspiration. But yeah, just keep it simple. Because the worst thing is doing dishes on the road, especially when you're living out of a Honda Accord and you don't have a sink with like a little cover and like some van lifers do to like hide the dishes. No, I don't have that, so I just have to wash my dishes as I go, and if it's literally freezing outside, well, my fingers are going to be freezing. So the simpler it is and the less dishes there are, the better. Also, I don't think I used a plate or a bowl once. Like, all you need are your kitchen utensils, if it's just you, and 1 spoon, 1 fork, 1 knife. I also had a portable blender, but that was a little extra. But to finalize my last tip, I don't even remember the number that we're on, but it's to learn to make adjustments as you go and go with the flow. I think that is the greatest lesson out of car life, is you sometimes don't know where you're gonna sleep at night on that day, and you just have to figure it out and go with the flow. And for some people that can cause a lot of anxiety, like not knowing and feeling like you don't have control over what's coming next, but I found that just like surrendering to what was in the present moment and just leaning into that instead of constantly worrying about the plan helped everything flow smoothly. I mean, the only issue that I had the entire summer was a dead battery. And even then, my battery died at a gas station in town, 2 minutes away from an auto parts store. And that same day, I had been camping 40 minutes outside of town in a national forest with no cell phone service. And like, had my battery died out there, I don't know what I would have done, but I wasn't worrying about it, and it just died in town and everything went smoothly and it was fixed within an hour and I was on my way. And that's just one example, but like, that's the only thing that really went wrong. And everything else, it was like, well, if it's not going how I wanted it to go, I'll just move track and go with the flow of what can happen. So I think that's a really great lesson to learn in life, is to not be so, how do I say that nicely? Stuck in your ways, maybe? And be open-minded and open to the possibilities of life. Because who knows, you might go from camping in your car to literally living at a retreat center for free, like I am currently. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe down below. Stay tuned. I'm going to be posting vlogs from here in Nicaragua soon. So if you have anything that you want to see from me, just leave it down in the comments below, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye guys!